hierarchical creativity, the new practice-based typology of narrative analysis. First of all, let me introduce the speaker. An assistant professor, Grzegorz Bryda, from the Institute of Sociology of the Jagiellonian University in Poland. The speaker has an extensive theoretical and practical experience in the use of mathematical methods, computational technologies, and software in qualitative research. Professor Bryda is the head of CAQDAS, TM Lab, and the Summer School of Qualitative Data Analysis and Research Methods, senior consultant for statistical analysis and data mining, and lecturer at the Training Center of SPSS Poland. He was rector's proxy for the Jagiellonian University Evaluation System of Qualitative Assurance and is a member of the Clarion Poland Scientific Board and the lecturer at CAQDAS Summer School in Poland. Grzegorz Bryda has professional skills in conducting qualitative and quantitative research, moderating discussion groups and in-depth interviews, qualitative data modeling using natural language processing and text mining, content analysis, and different techniques. He is interested in narrative research, cognitive sociology and corpus linguistics, digital humanities, and social science computing, CAQDAS, and linguistic data modeling with natural language processing and text mining approach. Our speaker works on different scientific and business projects with public institutions and private companies. Dear Professor, we dedicate 50 minutes to your presentation and 10 minutes to discuss and answer participants' questions. Is it convenient for you? Is it okay?
Yes, it's convenient. Thank you very much.
Okay, so please, the floor is yours. Please start.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I begin this speech, I would like to thank a lot of thanks to organizer for inviting me for this conference. This is my second time to be here. Firstly, I was just a participant, and the second, I am keynote speaker. That's a very pleasure to share my knowledge and my experience with other participants on WCQR. I'd like to start the presentation now. My intention in this speech is to think of the methodological innovation and creativity in qualitative research method and data analysis field. I would like to discuss this problem on the example of two cases I'm doing now. The qualitative research domain ontology and project, and the new way of thinking about typology or just creating typology of narrative analysis. The agenda of my meeting, of my talk, consists of 4 elements. Methodological landscape about the qualitative research field, how I perceived, what are the problems, and we spotted in time of literature review and our own research on the Ontology project. Later, I would like to talk about 2 cases. One is about ontology, mapping the field of qualitative research to find a connection about a lot of methods you use in qualitative research just to give a deeper insight. And the second case is narrative analysis, which I would like to present a new proposition of thinking and creating typology in qualitative research. And afterwards, I would like to finish this presentation just to resume kind of some no criteria, but a way can I say that this ontology and typology project can be seen as a methodological innovation, or this is just my own analytical creativity, because I'm working on a border discipline from, I'm working on a linguistic, qualitative research, statistical data analysis. I try to merge this just to find a solution to different problems. Okay, qualitative research methods and computer-assisted qualitative data, CAQDAS, are preferred ways of understanding reality, building knowledge, and gathering information about human life world today. Qualitative research design a collection of different approaches that make up the philosophical assumption that grounds one's point of view And they differ from ontology, epistemology, methodology, and axiology. Qualitative researchers use a wide range of methods and approaches to get a better understanding of the subject matter at hand. On the other side, the multiparadigmaticity of qualitative research legitimates the coexistence of different methods and data analysis approach. Besides the state of the art of qualitative research, methodologies and data analysis is in flux. Scarce attention is being given to theoretical consideration or breakouts in qualitative methodology, especially about the development of innovative research and analytical techniques. These problems are visible in 4 dimensions of qualitative research. Innovations, especially about new methods of techniques and techniques in data collection, transformation, analysis, and the developing area qualitative visualization, and the influence on technology on research design, and the cultural creativity in newness, which is stimulated by editors and grants, was pointed out by Mark Travers in his article from 2009. The second is diversity. Diversity is accompanied, what I mean, a lot of methods and technique we are used are accompanied by terminological chaos. We often use my own version of methods, so without any methodological correctness of using the terms terminology. And this is accompanied by tribal crisis. I say a few words after, in a moment. The third is credibility in qualitative research, which shows that there's a lack of coherence between questions posed and applied strategies. And the last is meta-language, which shows that in articles, in presentation, we often make merge different paradigms, methods, techniques. This is not a problem, but sometimes they don't fix each other. Today, the qualitative research and data analysis is accompanied by exceptional methodological creativity of researchers. So I'd like to pay attention more on the first criteria, on the first point. It means that the drawing up a coherent image of the present upfield is really a difficult task. Nevertheless, a need for orientation in the field of one's research practice, augmented by a desire to be on the top of the game, leads to undertake an attempt to reduce this methodological complexity. Even the cutting-edge shapers of innovative trends admit to difficulties in exhaustively and comprehensively reviewing the latest variation of qualitative research practice. Speaking about the methodological landscape, we cannot forget about the framework of qualitative research historical moments and their implication on research practices today. These moments pointed out by Denzin and Lincoln are necessary in understanding the evolution of methodological variation in qualitative research today. I don't want to concentrate on this moment. I just want to concentrate on the consequences which are visible in the paradox of plenty, which was named by Denzin Lincoln as a course of evidence. And I would like to concentrate on the tribal crisis a few moments. These moments, I mentioned before, historical moments, overlap and simultaneously operate in the present research design. The methodological landscape are manifested in tribal crises, as I mentioned before. Representation crisis, which address to the degree to which qualitative scholars can capture lived experience, otherwise that in its textual representation, how we can represent the lived experience in our research, just by text, by image, by movie, etc., etc. The second problem is a legitimization, which focuses on the traditional issue of reliability, validity, and generalizability. The central question is how qualitative research can be evaluated. And the third is practice. So it's about the impact of qualitative research practices on reality. Taking in account the problem of praxis, we have to answer how our research outcomes can be used, especially if society is only a text. We can observe this when people try to find a new solution expressing the results, as a poem, for example, in Qualitative Inquiry journal. All this observation lead us to the problem of coarse evidence. I use the term paradox of plenty. In the qualitative research field, perceived by Denzin and Lincoln, but have not been yet resolved, this problem is still a real problem. Scholars applying innovative methods, techniques for collecting, analyzing qualitative data, but the final result is questionable due to its lack of methodological criteria for verifying results and mixing in often incompatible research and analytical approaches. So the case one, accept mapping the field and domain ontology. Accepting creativity and diversity in the qualitative research practices, trying to map the field, I propose the concept of domain ontology, which as a solution which helps to overcome terminological chaos and a methodological disorder. We are working on this with my team. And this year we finished this project, and now we are in a state of applying the solution. The solution is dictionary. The concept of the domain ontology model represents a state-of-the-art qualitative know-how, and it encompasses a comprehensive catalog of up-to-date methodological variation and their specification in qualitative research practices. The domain ontology is a concept from field of knowledge engineering and discovery. It's used not in philosophy meaning, in philosophy sense. Domain ontology is a hierarchical system of categories and relations. It differs from other ways of representing knowledge in that it not only provides a schema or description for a given field, but also uses formal logic tools as axioms, definitions, rules to define the hierarchy of its elements and criteria for the later classification. Ontologies don't only introduce a shareable and reusable knowledge representation, but also add new knowledge about the domain. So the concept is that we would like to understand how people work, in the practice with the methods and techniques of data collection and data analysis. A domain ontology doesn't aim to enlist all concepts, methods, or research techniques in domain, but rather give a flexible, abstract conceptualization of the essence of knowledge in the field. The core of an ontology is ontological model, which is an architecture of vivid word. In a formal sense, the ontology categorizes knowledge across three main dimensions: concept, modality, and context. The concept encompasses 5 key terms: entity, environmental element, abstract concept, attribute, and system. System is a combination of previous 4 types. Modality is a means for generating a variety of types for each of the described concepts. Here, methods and techniques of data collection, data analysis, and epistemological approaches. Context allows for linking concept in variety of ways, creating different words. The concept of domain ontology is rooted in as I said before, emerged from the field of knowledge discovery, knowledge engineering, and knowledge discovery. In most cases, ontologies are formalized vocabulary. And as I said before, the ontology concept comes from computer science, so covering It provides classes, properties, individuals, and data values stored as semantic web documents. They specify the definition of terms by describing the relation with other terms. The main components of an ontology are concepts, relation, objects, sometimes named instances, and axioms. The concepts represent a set of classes of entities or things within the domain. Relation describe the interaction between concept or concepts' properties. The relations, like concepts, are organized into taxonomies. Instances are things represented by concept. The combination of ontology with associated instances is now popular in computer science as a knowledge base. Finally, axioms are used to constrain values for classes and instances. In this sense, the properties of relation are kinds of axioms. An ontology may take a variety of forms, but it always includes a vocabulary of terms and specification of their meaning. This includes definition and a sign of how concepts are interrelated, which impose a domain structure and constrain the possible interpretation of terms. A few words about the domain ontology project. I don't want to concentrate exactly on this project, but because this is a context only for typology, but I have to say a few words about the project just to be clear about the idea. The aim of the domain ontology project, as I said, is to create a model representing up-to-date knowledge about qualitative research practices and data analysis strategies. This model is rendered in the form of legible scheme of methodological classification by which data is collected, analyzed, and interpreted. The formal representation of ontology is classification dictionary of data collection methods and data analysis. This is a tool for applying ontology to real world. So firstly, we have to classify the methods, techniques, and data collection, data analysis, and epistemology, for example, approach. And after we apply it to the field, just to watch, like just to see what's going on in the field, how the field is developing in time. They are anchored in the article's written language and applied. These methods are anchored in the article's written language and applied in research practices. So this means they are rooted, inherited in a vivid language of articles. The visual representation of ontology, so a methodological landscape, because ontology is here used to present how the landscape is landscape is seen, is a semantic network of relation, or can be. I use a semantic network of relation. There are different ways of knowledge representing. Ontology is one of them, and when we use the ontology tools to the field, we have to show how the relations are presented. So we use a social network analysis to find a semantic connection between different classes of research method and analysis method. The concept, as I said before, comes or is emerged from the area of knowledge engineering. Few words about the analytical approach, analytical context of this project. In the field of qualitative data analysis, the idea of knowledge engineering and discovery is really innovative. This is my feeling about this because I never spotted it in other studies. In some sense, this idea is partly represented in the Glazerian version of grounded theory. We have two versions of grounded theory, and as I feel, Glaser is much more approach to this concept of domain ontology, or in a content analysis approach and in a searching functionalities or searching tools which are adopted in CAQDAS software. The qualitative data analysis is still developing area, especially CAQDAS analyses are moving from traditional grounded theory coding procedures through content analysis. I mean about the qualitative, quantitative, or mixed content analysis towards the knowledge discovery in textual database. And the analytical design of Ontology project in my project is based upon the idea of knowledge discovery in textual corpora, in textual database, with data extraction, with natural language processing and text mining procedures. So I use interdisciplinary approach in qualitative data analysis. I merge corpus linguistics, natural language processing, text mining procedures, such as parsing, lemmatizing, word sketching, disambiguation, etc., with CAQDAS and content analysis procedure. Traditional QDA rather focus on coding than information retrieval and extraction. In domain ontology project, the analytical process starts from extracting through coding to analyzing or discovering the ways by which qualitative research practices are conceptualized and represented in the vivid language of scholarly articles. Moreover, I combine CAQDAS procedure with content analysis and dictionary-based approach, dictionary-based coding. Each ontology encompasses its own dictionary, as I said before, the sets of semantic and logical rules that describe the interrelation among its elements. Because of the paradox of plenty, there is a lot of methodological classes, subclasses, and indexed objects in our domain ontology. But developing linguistic approach to domain ontology, I am close to articles language. I ground a classification dictionary in a vivid language. We spent 1.5 years to extract phrases from use close and distance reading, just to prepare this kind of dictionary. As we can here see, we discovered 300 classes of methods, data approach, data collection, data analysis. 52 classes was emerged in the field of data collection, but there are subclasses. And when we look for the subclasses, qualitative researchers are really creative. And so, especially in language, they are really creative. But when we look for the field, we can say that these classes are very similar. They differ with adjective or this kind of innovative approach or creative approach to the defining the methods. As you can see, the domination here is data analysis. There is 118 classes of approach to data analysis and 59 classes to data coding. But if you would like to ask me what's on the top, I can say that on the top is immortal qualitative interview. Means interview with narrative, biographical, or other different interview. Interview is the base of qualitative research standards. And when we look for data analysis, there are thematic analysis, there are content analysis, qualitative and rather qualitative than quantitative. And when we think about thematic analysis, they come a lot of or get a lot of from grounded theory approach. The basic, as I said, is dictionary via keyword dictionary. The basic of domain ontology is a terminological dictionary. How does it work? Okay, I show you an example. All words and phrases in our dictionary were established as a coding unit, and we use automated content analysis to code the text, the body, the keywords, the abstract of the article to find the relation in the article, how they are represented. And we use word embeddings, for example. This is a machine learning techniques to find the relation and to find the relation between classes and to find the representation of each article. There are some examples, two examples. This is a example, how seen, and you can see here there is a class of methodological approach. Ethnography is a class, and there are subclasses divided: methods, forms, phrases, and you can see some methods, phrases. We don't concentrate especially on these subclasses. We just try to find a connection between classes. So we have, as I said before, 59 classes of methods, but there is a lot of subclasses here. Finally, applying, this is another example about data analysis. Finally, applying this dictionary to the corpora, we create some data matrices of such as class by article, class by class, class by class in time, for further multidimensional analysis of class relation and the qualitative research field dynamic. We would like to show how the field is changing in time. And now I would like to I'd like to go to another, to the second case, the case about typology. Practice-based typology network. This is a kind of innovation, may I say. Okay, let me start from the beginning. I have to say a few words about the narrative. Narrative has become a buzzword among social scientists in recent years. And storytelling is a common technique of gathering information about people's life experience after narrative terms. Everything that surrounds human beings, everything one reads, hears, or sees, all comprise stories. This is what many social scientists refer to as the narrative term. For many qualitative researchers, the narrative approach is a natural way of speaking about human life today. So, lived experience, the narrative research and narrative analysis are crucial concepts for reaching a deeper understanding of participants' perspective, thus improving the qualitative comprehension in the study of social and psychological phenomena. Narrative research, in turn, is a broad term for a group of approaches that focus on a written, spoken, or visual representation. In qualitative research practice, lived experience is explored and understood in various ways, as well as narrative analysis. In this project, I concentrated on exploring and discovering of narrative analysis approach. I tried to explore what kind of narrative approaches the contextual, paradigmatic, thematic, or rather the structural, syntagmatic, linguistic are used by qualitative researchers in their analysis, in their practice. My consideration based on the bottom-up database approach, which is a combination, as I did before, CAQDAS, content, text mining, and NLP procedures. I used the natural language processing in key phrase extraction. The CAQDAS I use for pattern coding, and content analysis for using automatic dictionary-based coding. And finally, I use topic modeling technique to discover hidden semantic structure in the textual corpus. The typology of narrative analysis is finally a reconstruction which is emerging from the domain ontology concept. To explore different strategies of narrative analysis, I examined English written articles published between 2002 and 2016. So this is a limited subset of the domain ontology corpora. I use a qualitative report, qualitative inquiry, qualitative social research, qualitative research, in International Journal of Qualitative Methods. Articles for the textual corpus have been selected due to their positioning in the milieu around the world and their high impact factor, as well as the transdisciplinary character. These articles convey representation of various qualitative research practice and different approaches in narrative research, narrative analysis, including those which, due to their novelty and exceptionality, don't belong to the canon of those analyses. The set of articles is selected from the domain ontology corpora. I use CAQDAS software, QDA Miner, and WordStat to analyze and reduce the corpus. I started the review of articles with distance reading and content analysis, close and distance reading and content analysis to find some linguistic grammatical criteria based on the word phrase collocations and some selection criteria relating to narrative analysis and lived experience. I used two linguistic techniques, word sketch, which is used to find collocation with words and word combination, and multi-word sketch to find collocation with phrases. The word sketch processes the words, collocates and other words in its surroundings. It produces the words grammatical and collocational summary. I check collocation for such word to examine their combination, the statement or paragraph context. Their combination were language, I treat as a kind of language markers, which will be helpful for me to select an article about applied narrative analysis. At the beginning, the sample was 400 articles, and after the distance and close reading and this kind of linguistic transformation, the corpus finally contained 350 articles. The methodology of domain, as well as a new typology, is the combination of CAQDAS, DH, natural language processing. The process of developing the practice-based typology model of narrative analysis is following by mixed method approach. But going beyond the simple coding and searching procedure used in the CAQDAS and content analysis, I apply dictionary-based automatic coding, keyword or key phrase, and afterwards coded content was verified manually by the researcher. The paragraphs and the statements were verified by researcher. The use of dictionary helped me to understand, to search and to do linguistic extraction, code, annotate in linguistic terms, and analyze different textual passages in a corpus, which would be difficult to achieve using the classical CAQDAS approach. The linguistic corpus-based coding dictionary is similar to the codebook you use in CAQDAS analysis or in qualitative data analysis, or a kind of categorization in key and context analysis. The use of corpus-based dictionary coding and narrative analysis extends and enriches the traditional QDA. The concept and type of analysis. Using distance and close reading, I found 26 types of approach used by research in their articles as ways of analysis of narratives. The concept of narrative analysis is inspired by social constructionism, is currently one of the most popular and used terms in the social and human science. In sociology and social linguistic tradition, and narrative research and data analysis is represented by four modes of thinking, which have been developing since 1960. Two of them are embedded in ethnomethodology. This is analysis of conversation, a model of analysis narratives is presented in natural oral setting, or frame analysis, a model of analysis of narrative analysis based on Erving Goffman's idea. The third evaluation model comes from William Labov and Joshua Wolecki, and focus on the analysis of the internal formal structure of micro-narratives in relation to the social context. The last mode of thinking was developed in the work of Nessa Wolfson and Livia Polani. They linked narratives with the culture and performativity, especially with the social context of interview as a way for eliciting interview narratives. Of course, in the literature, there is a lot of various typologies of narrative analysis. But I didn't find any data-driven typology based on exploration of research practice. Moreover, the methodological research design suggests different methods of carrying out narrative analysis. The most popular typology of narrative analysis is in social science, one that is especially useful for analyzing oral stories of personal experience, has been proposed by Catherine Kohler Riessman And this typology is based on a heuristic distinction between the four ways of handling and analyzing narratives: thematic, structural, dialogical, performative, and visual. In thematic analysis, the emphasis is on the content of oral and written narrative, the meaning and the interpretation of what's being said. The focus is on what is said more than how it's said. In the structural analysis, the focus shifts to the way in which stories are told. The focus is on the form, how one speaks and how language is used in the narrative. In dialogic performance analysis, one focuses on the context and view narrative as a multi-voiced and co-constructed reality. The emphasis is on the dialogue. One goes beyond the spoken word. So storytelling is seen as a performance. In visual narrative analysis approach, one attends not only to how and why visual objects, photograph collages, and paintings, movies, or video diaries are produced, but also how they are made by participants in a kind of collaboration. Okay, I confronted Riessman heuristic typology with the data-driven approach in order to contribute the more coherent image of narrative analysis. I created main categories according to Riessman typology, merging 26 explored types of narrative analysis with the 4 types proposed by Riessman. Moreover, I decided to add a mixed method approach as an extra category. The usage of classification dictionary to code articles show that qualitative research focus in their narrative on discovering the meaning of the story. As you can see, there is a type of analysis that's thematic and structural, and on the way the story is being told. Moreover, the narrative analysis represented by articles is more textual than visual. A new category, mixed method approach, which is not included in Riessman typology, is developed. Of course, these types proposed by Kohler Riessman are kind of ideal models of analysis. Okay, let's get to the topic modeling. I didn't want to create a heuristic or concept-driven typology. I decided to use an unsupervised and explorative technique, the topic modeling, for detecting word phrase patterns and automatically clustering word phrase groups and finding similar expressions that are good description of a set of documents, corpora. The WordStat implements 2 methods of topic modeling: non-negative matrix factorization, which helps to extract topics from word X word collation matrix, and principal component analysis, so-called factor analysis. We know it is from statistical analysis with the varimax rotation. The NMF method is faster and can handle larger matrices than factor analysis. The unit of analysis was a paragraph. Topic coherence, as you can see, is results or is a measure used to evaluate the results of modeling. It's a weighted average of correlation of words, types of analysis associated with the topic they create. In this case, the topic coherence is small, which means that one has to interpret these topics carefully. The detailed summary of topic modeling narrative is that the first topic consists of 2 groups, taxonomy, frame theoretical, and phenomenological thematical content analysis. There is an index of topic modeling here. And the second is a case biographical analysis. The third is disjoined into semiotic and secondary content mix analysis. And the fourth comprised of discursive, conversational, and linguistic phenomenological type analysis. The fifth one involves network structural sequential. The other types don't create any topics. Therefore, they have been seen as a separate narrative analysis approach. As you can see, the results of topic modeling doesn't cover Riessman's heuristic typology, and the extracted types of narrative analysis are related to each other, but rather by accidents. There is no clear occurrence pattern among them. I would like to check to confirm this topic modeling results. I use hierarchical clustering, and this is method of grouping objects. And you can see that this kind is the representation is dendrogram, and dendrogram chart displays grouping results. I was searching clusters in paragraphs with the so-called second profile classification and association range, similarity index among these types of methods. And the range is 0, 1. This index measures the occurrence of items while taking into account the possibility that two items will sometimes occur by chance. There are approximately 5 internally coherent clusters. Here you can see that I tried to find a clear interpretation of clusters. So I use the silhouette measure, which is the method of interpretation validation of consistency within the clusters. It shows how object is fixed to its own cluster in comparison to other clusters. It ranges between -1 +1. If I found cluster with average silhouette, which is 0.77, 0.8. and 0.3 cutting point, the association range similarity index. So it's rather good results. The clustering method seems to be more flexible and explorative approach than topic modeling. Some clusters are similar to certain topics. Some types of narrative analysis exist independently, but hierarchical clustering via silhouette measure results confirm the topic modeling results with small exception. Finally, based on hierarchical clustering similarity metrics, I use Gephi software to draw a knowledge representation of the area of narrative analysis, a network type based on, as said before, 350 articles. The corpus based analysis, hierarchical clustering, and topic modeling provides some general conclusion. There is no coherent and clear cluster or topic representation of narrative analysis in the contemporary field of qualitative research. There are rather network connection between types of narrative analysis, and it shows that qualitative research rather merge different analytical researchers, rather merge different analytical approach working with narrative than use a single type of narrative analysis. So this is a kind of change with hierarchy thinking about typology to proposing network connection typology. Summary: the science development is accomplished through immediately perceived great and small innovation, and those that are almost imperceptible. Determining whether something is not or is an innovation is not easy at all. What can we say about the methodological innovation in the field of qualitative research? Are there any criteria validating this methodological innovation? In qualitative research field, the term innovation is employed in 3 senses: the application of new method or new technique to a new field or topic. It's not simply using a method, but applying it creatively to a new topic so that it has practical value for professionals seeking to design effective advertisement. Many books published that promote the benefits of method or technique established in one discipline for other discipline, subdiscipline or applied fields. This book often talk about qualitative research in generic terms without explaining the distinction between approaches. And the second understanding is when innovation is the use of method within within existing qualitative research design. And the last is when we speak about the movement in qualitative research, arguing that all qualitative research at present are characterized by innovation, the emergence of new methodology and struggle against tradition. Thinking about methodological innovation, researchers position themselves in their opposition to the tradition or to the newest, yes? And Duck Easy in 2002, article from 2002 portrays the qualitative research field as a creative dialogue between innovative and traditional approaches. Qualitative research field from one side reflects a lot of common themes regarding methodological innovation in the research process, and from the other side shows the tension between expecting methodological standards and methodological diversity and developing methodological innovation. And these methodological innovation are created for generating new theoretical insight. Thus, it is not surprising that editorials and reviews on qualitative methods highlight new unconventional qualitative methods as an effective strategy for achieving high impact publication. Some authors speaking about methodological innovation propose a degree of innovation, such as incremental architecture radical. This is a new kind of classification, new example from Kirsten, Lee, and Schmidt 2019 article, or the inception, adaptation, or adoption, while Spain, Graham 2009. Despite the value of innovation, we actually know relatively little about the actual practice of research method innovation. Existing work present examples of innovative methods along the research process, from research setting to design, forms of data, data collection, and analysis. Other work calls for innovating methods via new research question, non-traditional data source, an example, narrative, photographs, organic artifacts, non-verbal interaction, or new and varied data analysis like longitudinal or multi-level process research, innovative approach to mixed methods that give equal weight to qualitative methods, and new or unconventional data display and research presentation. Methodological innovation concern either developing, applying a new research method or data analysis approach to any research topic. And they are a linkage between data collection methods and data analysis method. In example, team-based ethnography plus cross-case analysis, ethnomethodological study with multimodal analysis, or action research with auto-ethnography writing. This is okay, but it's difficult to say that we are creative in the field of qualitative research, or this is a kind of innovation. Generally speaking, there are three visible areas of methodological innovation: data generation or collection, including research setting, sampling, and data sources; data analysis, covering analytical processes and data coding strategies; and data visualization, displaying results of analysis and presentation findings. A knowledge discovery in database and corpus linguistics is, in my mind, a new approach, new idea, which I try to develop in the field of QDA since a few years. This method is like a combination of CAQDAS, as I said before, grounded theory, database approach, linguistics, corpus linguistics, NLP, and text mining. NLP and data transformation procedure, text extraction, annotation, there are a lot of procedure which can be adopted from corpus linguistic on computational linguistic. A lot of new methodological innovation in CAQDAS, such as corpus-based or dictionary-based approach, came from corpus linguistics. So we are looking for another field just to find a new solution, new methods, new procedure, new strategies of data analysis. Moreover, some CAQDAS software, for example, WebQDA, QDA Miner, WordStat, RapidMiner, and so on, use more sophisticated analysis such as correspondent analysis, sequential analysis, factor or textual analysis I presented before in Typology. And the other CAQDAS software, as NVivo, MaxQDA, use a basic statistical model of analysis. And they are oriented more, maybe not NVivo, but MaxQDA is just a software for mixed method analysis. This is interdisciplinary approach. This interdisciplinary approach set us a new methodology standards in contemporary computer-assisted qualitative data analysis. In this context, my new analytical project I would like to mention is about the semantic modeling and knowledge representation in narrative analysis. Seems to be really innovative or not, or this is my analytical creativity. me and my colleague would like to develop new methodology of narrative analysis using artificial intelligence algorithm. It's a synthesis of analytical procedure in the field of social science, CAQDAS, computer science, deep machine learning, NLP and text mining, and linguistics, computational linguistics. And two last slide and finish. Max Travers, an Australian sociologist, in his analysis pointed out that we still face up to well-known methodological dilemma. Applying any innovative methods or techniques, we stand in front of traditional approach. And all qualitative methodological problems, such as credibility, clarity of method, researcher positioning, reflexivity, ethics, etc., etc. Even though the equipment might be new, the fundamental considerations and theoretical choices involved in conducting qualitative research have not significantly changed. Of course, applying such innovative approach as qualitative research domain ontology or practice-based new network typology of narrative analysis, we go deeper we get new insight into qualitative research field, data collection methods, data analysis, and still developing data visualization. We can respond to the qualitative research field problems, as I mentioned before at the beginning: diversity, sometimes fake innovation, and lack of coherent basis for methodological discussion. To sum up, methodological innovation are often an effect of specialization, a hybridization of social science. The reason for the specialization is the accumulation of knowledge in the basic disciplines. The disciplines and sub-disciplines are divided into epistemological, methodological, theoretical, and ideological foundation. The reason for hybridization is searching for new research field at the cross-border of various disciplines. Scholars borrow theories and methods from neighboring distant fields, as I do, for example. And finally, interdisciplinary expectation and migration are the main source of innovation in science, including social science. Sociology, my field, is an example of far-reaching specialization that has caused it to be dispersed, so this concept is usually used with an adjective. We have sociology of work, sociology education, etc., etc. The specialization and hybridization of sociology have brought a huge number of innovation, but it has also caused the discipline to break down. Concept diffusion plays an important role in scientific innovation. New concepts usually have two origins. They can be invented. They can be invented to name phenomena before unknown, or they can be redefined. The first phenomenon is more common in the life sciences. Methods are important factor in innovation in social sciences. Henri Poincaré noted that scientists working in natural science usually talk about their discoveries, while social scientists discuss methods. This is due to not only the importance of methods in social science, but also from the fact that they are so-called soft methods. Methodological progress is often more important in social science than new ideas. Methods, also more often than concepts and theories, divide qualitative research or social scientists into competing schools. But finally, each methodological innovation, sooner or later, becomes the tradition or the canon of social science of qualitative research methodology. Thank you very much.